Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and also welcome to the Success Series Stories. And today we have one more topper with us. He has recently cleared NABARD Grade A 2021 and his name is Mr. Gopal Sarkate. And yesterday only the cutoffs and all the marks has also been released by NABARD. So today it is going to be an interesting session. We will look at how the topper prepared for all the sections and in which section did the topper got the highest marks. So, hello, sir. Welcome to EduTap.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me here.
First of all, heartiest congratulations on the big achievement.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, sir, first tell something about your educational background and when did you decided that you want to join NABARD?
I completed my graduation in 2017. So I'm a bachelor's in engineering and information technology. And right after I completed my graduation, I got selected in one of the IT firm and in TCS actually. And since then, I've been working in corporate. But I always had this in my mind that I wanted to work in the public sector. So during that, I thought of preparing for UPSC. But my brother, who was already preparing for UPSC, he suggested me that there are regulatory bodies exams as well, such as RBI, NABARD, and SEBI. And then researched upon the NABARD's work. There is a YouTube channel as well of NABARD, which pretty much provides you all the kind of work that NABARD does. And I was very impressed that how interesting job they are doing actually for the rural agriculture sector. And at that time only I decided that I wanted to be a NABARD Grade A officer and want to work in NABARD. So during that, I started my preparation in April 2021 actually. So I took a leave from my current organization and decided to study full time for NABARD preparation.
Right.
That was the
So,
main.
so there is approx 4 years gap between when you got the job and then you started for preparing. So, as a student, so wasn't it a bit difficult then again starting all over again, then going to those notes and everything?
Actually, it was really difficult for me because when I started my preparation, I was not able to even sit for like 1 and 2 hours for study. But as the time passed by, I built up the stamina. Worked really hard on that, and then eventually I got to study like 7 to 8 hours a day, and that worked for me actually.
Right. So
That's a big thing.
there should be dedication if you really want to achieve something. Initially, it would be
Yeah,
difficult, but then you have to do if you want to get that thing right. So, so did you used to give rewards to yourself that if you prepare for this time, then you'll do something, or it was just like you used to sit and just see how much can you study for a particular time period?
No, actually, I created a schedule for me, a tight schedule for me actually. So I divided my study time into different sections so that I don't get bored working on a particular section. So I took breaks in between. So it was not like continuously I was studying for 5 to 6, 7 to 8 hours. I used to study for 2 hours, then take a break of half an hour, and then again sit for like that. So
Yeah, so it's a good strategy for the aspirants who cannot study at one go. That switch between the subjects so that you mentally you do not get exhausted reading just one
actually.
thing. Yeah, so you just keep on switching the subject, and also there should be a gap in between to relax
Yeah,
your mind.
and actually it helped me for prelims as well because as you know, prelims is a act of balance itself. Like you need to score in all the subjects, you need to clear the sectional cutoffs of all the papers as well.
Right.
So it helped me give attention to all the sections equally.
Right. So we'll start with phase one. So from this time, from 2021, NABARD, it had changed its pattern, and then it shift. It had non-merit and merit section, right? And as you said before that you started preparing from April, so that was the first time you were doing. So when you got to know about this merit and non-merit section, so what did you think that should you give equal attention to that, or you prepared for non-merit section at the very moment, or you can say 10 or 15 days or 1 month before examination?
So actually, I decided like I first of all the most important thing is knowing the examination. So I referred to the previous questions, and my brother, who was a mentor for me, actually, he gave previous examinations. So he told me that you need to give utmost attention to the merit section in this time. So accordingly, I prepared for only a few topics of content reasoning, and I paid more attention to the ARD and ESI section. And along with that, EduTap's notes helped me a lot. So I referred to all the material from EduTap, especially for the ARD. So during my phase one itself, I prepared notes for ARD, and eventually that helped me during my phase two preparation. So that kind of preparation helped me actually.
Right. So it's better to prepare for all the phases at one go. Usually, what a student do either they focus on phase two only, or they focus on phase one only. So it's better whenever you are studying, just study at one go, so that it is going to help you in both the phases. That's right. So first we'll talk about the non-merit section. So it consisted of quant, reasoning, English, and then we had decision making and computer knowledge. So decision making was added for the first time in NABARD. So yesterday only the cutoffs have also been launched by the NABARD, and herein for decision making, as this was for the first time, so for general category it was 1.25 marks, that was the minimum cutoff for it, and in rest it was around 3 to 4, but in English, yes, it was 11.25. So when you looked at your scorecard, so were the marks they were around the cutoff as you planned because you were focusing on merit, or what was your plan all about?
So during prelims, I mainly focused that I want to secure only cutoff marks, and somehow after checking on the difficulty of the paper, I knew that the cutoff would be very minimal for the decision making and the computer knowledge as well. So for that, I solved for decision making. It was very surprising for everyone because there were very tough questions, as well as computer knowledge was also difficult. So decision making, I remember I solved around four questions only, and those were calculated guessworks. Like if I get one correct, I will be getting this much of mark, and only if I get four wrong, then only 1 mark will be deducted. That kind of situation.
Yeah.
So that helped me a lot actually, calculated work. And
So
for English as well, I solved only short questions only. I didn't give much time to those. So it was a balanced approach, you can say.
right.
So I gave time to all the sections.
And what were the sources that you referred for these subjects?
So for content reasoning, I just refer to the regular YouTube lectures. I prepared only fixed topics for the content reasoning, referring to the previous year questions. And for ARD, ESI, I refer to only to EduTap's material. Particularly for the ARD, I refer to only EduTap itself. So I made notes of ARD. And for GA, which is very important, so I refer to Affairs Cloud, the monthly current affairs notes that is given by the Affairs Cloud page. So I made notes of that as well. So referring to the previous question that what kind of a questions the NABARD asked, I made notes of the questions that might come and which were in the news during that time. And one more thing is for the schemes as well, there is a very important note provided by EduTap, that is the schemes tab,
Yeah.
and I was solely relied on the schemes tab only for all my schemes preparation as well. So it helped me a lot.
Right. So, sir, you said that for quant and reasoning, you just refer to specific topics. So, do you remember the topic name so that our aspirants they also get to know that this particular topic is important?
Yeah, like for quant, I focused more on time and work, a percentage, and DI. And for reasoning, I solved one puzzle, I remember. And apart from that, inequalities is there, and directions also I prepared. So these 4 to 5 topics
Right.
are enough.
Right. And sir, for English, what was your strategy?
Actually, for English, I didn't prepare at all. So fortunately, I was little good in English, so I didn't
Mm.
focus on English at all. So I was sure that I would be able to cover the cutoff anyhow. So I didn't give any attention to English in phase one. But for phase two, I did prepare very well for English actually, because it was I mean, it was a written test. So that's why.
Right. So for English, you started after phase one
Yeah.
preparation. Yeah. So, sir, this was for your phase one, the strategy that you followed for phase one. Now let's move to phase two. And you have never prepared for subjective examination before. So this was the first time you did, and that too few months before the before the examination itself. So how
Yes.
did you started? What was your strategy, and how did you learn this art of descriptive writing?
So after the phase one phase one examination commenced. So after that only I started preparing for phase two. I didn't waste any time. First of all, that is very important. You should not take any break. So right away I started preparing, and I already, like I mentioned, I already had prepared notes for ARD. So my ARD was secured already, and as well as I created notes of Affairs Cloud as well. So that was also, GA was also covered. Now only I had remained about ESI and English. So for ESI, for English more specifically, I decided to practice a lot. So I created a examination type of environment at my home itself. So I brought simple like 700 to 800 worth of keyboard. That is a sticky keyboard, like which kind of find in the examination halls.
Right.
So I prepared on that keyboard, so which helped me a lot actually. So I used to prepare daily. So I used to uh, each week I used to write around 3 to 4 essays and 2 to 3 letters and presses as well, and that helped me a lot. And during my phase two preparation, I started reading newspaper articles as well, which helped me gain a lot of material which I could put in English essays as well as it was helping me during my preparation of current affairs. So reading newspaper was a bit helpful for me during my phase two preparation.
Right. So, sir, you said that you used to prepare, you used to type a lot to get speed also, and then have that the idea that how to write this subjective answers. But sir, how did you used to select the topics that which topic you should write on, even if you're preparing for English?
So for that, actually, I took help from EduTap again, because I remember that EduTap provided a list of important essay topics that were in news that during that time, like
Right.
20 to 30 topics they provided. So I used to take one topic from that, and I used to just type in.
Right. Okay. And sir, about current affairs also, I think I know most of the students they would want to know that how much months current affair did you prepare for the examination?
So, like ideally, you should prepare for 6 to 7 months uh, prior to the date of examination, and it should be a continuous process. Like that is very important. Like it should not be like 6 months of current affairs you have prepared, and now you are waiting for the next like 1 week or 2 weeks for the new affairs current affairs to come. So
Right.
as soon as the first phase one gets over, you need to make a habit of reading daily newspaper, because eventually that is going to help you in the interview as well. That is
True.
very important. So that way, I continuously prepared for current affairs, and like I mentioned, I had already prepared notes of affairs cloud, so that helped me a lot, and I used to keep on revising them. So
Right.
around 6 to 7 months, current affairs is very ideal. So
Right. So revision it is must for the examination. So,
yeah, actually,
so sir, in phase two, we have two paper. One is paper one that is only for English, and then we have paper two, which consists of ESI and ARD, and all these they have objective plus subjective, right? So, when you looked at your scorecard yesterday, so in which paper did you score more marks? And then also, I would like to ask that in objective did you scored well, or in subjective what do you think that in which portion can a aspirant score well?
so mostly I believe that in objective aspirants can score well, because those are the definitive answers, for sure. either you know or you don't know.
You don't know,
So
right?
that is important. And for subjective, there are multiple factors that come into play, like your spelling mistakes also taken into consideration, grammatical errors, how are you forming the sentences. So, for example, when I saw my marks yesterday, it came as a shock to me. Like I scored very less in English, so it was like beyond my expectations. So
Right.
that I believe that that was due to the complex sentence arrangement. So I uh, believe that I should have used easier sentences, like simpler sentences. That would have helped me. And
Right.
overall, for ESI ARD, I got better marks than English. So that was a surprising point for me as well.
Yeah, there's misconception in among the aspirants that we have to score very well in English if you want to get into the merit. But you are a fine example over here that comparatively you scored well in paper 2 and lesser in phase 1, and still you have made it. So
Yeah, actually.
yeah, so for ESI, I want to ask that again, was it all that you dependent on the current portion only, or was there the static portion also that was you focused on?
Yeah, actually, on static portion also I focused. Like EduTap provides the static notes for ESS static as well. So for a few important topics like money management, inflation, these kind of topics, monetary policy, and the terms related to the budget, all those topics I studied. And mostly, I would say that I focused on the current more, because during that time, budget and all those things had also come.
Hmm.
So I prepared accordingly, like for budget economic survey, I focused more. And I refer to the PIB articles during that phase two preparation. So I used to like short down important PIB articles, and then read those, and make short notes of those PIB articles as well. But those were related to particular ministries only. Like for example, I used to refer to only Ministry of Rural Development, Agriculture and Rural Development. Apart from that, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of MSME, and Health and Family Welfare. Those ministries I covered mainly, and that helped me a lot, because I remember that I read an article on MSP on PIB itself, and the same question came in the examination, and it was very very helpful for me, because in that article they gave so much detailed explanation about how MSP is formed and all those committees and everything, and that helped me really in forming my answer in the descriptive paper.
True. So, sir, while our conversation, there's two things that I got to know. That first is after phase 1, you started referring to PIB as well as
Yeah,
newspaper also, right? So you would be
right.
in better position to tell that in phase 2 questions what you faced during your time, because every year is dynamic. But at your time, what does your experience is that between phase 1 and phase 2, the questions that come in phase 2, are they more from the between the time period that was in between the phase 1 or phase 2, or there were generic questions that were going all around India over a year?
No, actually, the questions were around the examination point only. Like
All right.
after the phase one commenced, right? After that, all those important topics that came, that only came in the examination mainly. Not all of them. There were few that were before the paper commencement as well. But most of the questions from the current that were in between those period only.
Right. So this would be very helpful for the aspirants also, that for phase 2 it whatever be the news around that corner, that becomes essentially important for the examination, right? Because most of people, if they are going still going for the topics that are 5 months old, 6 months old, that is comparatively not useful as the ones that were around the examination, right? So sir,
No,
this was,
because
yes sir, please continue.
no, because during this examination preparation, it is very, very important to limit your preparation sources. Like you need to limit what to study and what not to study. You need
True.
to reduce the material. So otherwise, you would not be able to revise during the examination time.
True, revision is must because there's no use of just collecting the data and not just studying, reading, or doing anything
Exactly.
about it. Right. So now let's move to the third stage of the selection, that is the interview. And I want to tell all the aspirants that Mr. Gopal, he has scored highest marks in interview. So he would be in better position to tell that how to tackle the questions that are asked in interview, and how to talk to the panel. And the first question that I really want to ask is, how was the panel? Like, was it cordial or was that a strict one?
The panel was very cordial actually, and they were very experienced panel members, and they knew that what kind of expectations are required. I mean, from us, the candidates basically. So
True.
accordingly, they just everyone.
So what kind of questions were asked to you? We would like to know.
Yeah. So for me, the most of my interview that revolved around my personal questions, personal related questions only. Like when I entered the interview hall. So the first question they ask is, Gopal, so you have been working in corporate and they are paying you well. So from there, why do you want to switch to NABARD? So that was the first question. After that, accordingly, I moved. So they ask different kind of questions on based on the previous question itself. So that's how my overall interview went.
Right. So were the questions asked related to NABARD institution?
Yeah, NABARD institutions, yeah, they did ask about the NABARD's annual report questions, like balance sheet and all. And apart from that, they also asked about the sustainable development goal, I remember, and how NABARD is helping in achieving the sustainable development goals. That was also one of the important questions they asked. And
Right.
the sources of funding for NABARD and how NABARD uses these funds. These are pretty much questions on the expected line only, but moreover their focus is on how you are answering. Are you well versed with the NABARD's work or not? These are the important.
Right. So how did you prepare for it? Did you refer to NABARD website, or what source did you refer for preparing for the interview?
Yeah. Actually, for interview, I prepared a lot. Like I gave, first of all, I gave around 8 to 9 marks from different institutions. EduTap only gave, I gave around 2 marks, and apart from that, I asked my family members also to conduct my mocks. So they also conducted my mocks at the home, like just regular questions, just to make you feel comfortable that you are comfortable in answering the questions. That is very important. Like practice is very important for interview preparation, first of all. Second is you should, so I used to prepare like a tree chart, so we call it a tree diagram. So I used to start from the starting position like me, and then whatever that things are related to me that our interviewer can ask, I created a tree chart like that. So that helped me a lot, like my experience, like previous organization. So I also studied about my previous organization, that what is its valuation, who founded it, what it does, all those things. Even whenever I studied during my uh, education, I gathered information about that cities as well, important things around that cities. All those information I gathered, and apart from that, I remember during interview preparation, it is very important to know about the current things that going on. So during that time, the 10,000 FPOs scheme was very much in news. NABARD has
Right.
promoted it, and I visited two FPOs in my district as well, and the same question they asked during the interview as well, and that gave a very good impression in front of them, that I went down and visited them in person, and uh, got the information that how the working is done and all those things.
Right. So you actually lived how the FPOs they are working, and of course they were impressed by you because that somehow validated the fact that how you want to join NABARD.
Yeah, actually, I was very desperate. I mean, so I wanted to join NABARD in this attempt only.
Right. Right. So, Mr. Gopal, to sum up what Mr. Gopal has said, so he said for phase one, he focused on the merit section only because that is what going make get you making to the phase two. For the non-merit section, he did looked at the specific topics that were asked in previous year. So he suggests that for getting through the non-merit and merit, you should be well versed with well aware of what kind of questions are asked in examination and then go accordingly. And he has also mentioned some of the important topics for quant and reasoning. Then for phase two, that was the first time he was appearing for some subjective competitive examination. So he practiced a lot. He bought a keyboard, and because that is what has been that is the mode of examination for that is the mode of examination, and he used to practice a lot. He used to practice all the current topics scenarios for the English, and for ESI and ARD he started reading newspapers, and he went through the PIB website and read about all the recent development that are taking place, especially for the ESI part. And then for interview, he says most of the question they were from his personal experiences, as well as there were questions from NABARD. And so you should be thorough with all the current affairs, what the institution is doing, what's its balance sheet, how NABARD is helping for the development of rural areas, and also you should be well aware of your personal surroundings. So sir, I hope I haven't missed anything.
No, actually, you covered everything actually. So, most important thing I would like to reiterate again is notes making. So, as the examination structure has changed, you won't get much time after phase one. So, it is very advisable that you start note making during your phase one itself. So, whatever kind of mostly ARD questions are static, so it is better that you start making notes of ARD topics, because for revision it will help you a lot, and it will save you a lot of time.
Yes, and in fact, the scorecard that has been released yesterday only, it also shows that maximum cutoff they are for ARD section only. And in fact,
Yes,
in examination phase two, there was one 15 marker compulsory question that was from agriculture only. So you cannot really skip ARD, uh,
yeah,
thinking
actually
that
that
all
was
other
very question.
subjects. Yeah.
It was really difficult. I mean, it was difficult for me as well. But like I mentioned, due to the data I gathered, I was able to form a basic idea outline about the questions, and I hope I got the new marks in that.
Finally, ultimately, you made it to NABARD, so you must have got marks than that. Yeah. So, sir, at the end, would you like to say anything to the aspirants who are preparing for NABARD?
Yeah, like so most of the I have observed that most of the aspirants fear that they are in the competition with the UPSC people. So I'm the living example that I'm not a UPSC guy, and I after a gap of around 3 to 4 years I started preparation. So if you are consistent about your goal, you are passionate about your goal, there is nothing that can stop you.
True, because sir, he himself he had 4 years gap and he started from everything from the scratch, and also without having any UPSC background, and and he still cleared it. So thank you so much, sir, for sharing your journey with us. It was really inspiring, and many of the aspirants they will really get to know the right strategy they could follow for the examination. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.